So I've been thinking a lot lately about gratitude, not just being grateful for like the good things that happen in my life and throughout my day and just being mindful about those things, but
Right.
also having gratitude for things that kind of suck because
Yes.
I'm just trying to reframe my thinking around things that suck, or I call it contrast, and what I learn from those things and how it brings me desires into my life and to try to change things from sucking so much.
Right. Well,
So
there's that old saying, like not every storm is there to, destroy your life. Sometimes it's to clear a path, right?
absolutely. When I was thinking about this recently, I thought of you, Becca, because every week you do something on YouTube regarding gratitude.
I
And
do. And so it's like a really semi-selfish thing that I do on YouTube. So one of the things that is part of all of my little toolkits and all the things that I use is this attitude of gratitude, which makes me roll my eyes every time it comes out of my mouth. But it works, right? And so the idea is just like with manifestation, that like begets like. And so if you want more positivity in your life, you got to put more out there and vice versa and all of that. And so one of the ways that to keep a really positive attitude and that I find really helpful is to do gratitude stuff, to make sure that you're being grateful for all of the stupid shit that just gets you through that week, whatever it is, whether it was like an awesome candy bar from a friend that you didn't know was going to be the thing you needed to get you through the day, whatever it is, right? And it's a challenge because some weeks it's crap. Some weeks you're having just a shit week and you can't find those things, and it's those weeks that it's the best time to do it because it's so challenging, because for you to find some goodness in it. But if we don't find the goodness, then we don't have motivation to keep going. And so very selfishly, I set up every Sunday to, in my basic pajamas on my couch with my messy hair, and I sit down and I talk about my week and the things that helped me get through the week, the parts of it that were hard, whatever it is that I'm currently feeling. And I do that for myself because it holds me accountable. It means I'm doing gratitude every week, no matter what. Even if I don't want to be there, there are people that are waiting for me, and that keeps me growing my gratitude. The hope, though, is to inspire other people and that they then want to do their own version of gratitude practice. So yes, that is what I do. I'm big on gratitude. I think it's those little things that really create successful people. It's not luck. It's not opportunity. It's not, money. It's not any of those things. It's absolutely mindset, 100%.
absolutely. And I think the word selfish, like it gets a really bad rap,
Right.
because
It does.
if we can't be we only know through our own experience, through our own lens. So
Right.
if we're not honoring that, then I don't know how we just kind of go about and navigate the world in a healthy way.
Right. Well, that's exactly it, right? Selfless has been given this wonderful place in our life. And you say selfless and everyone's, oh, best person in the whole world. You say selfish and right. But the truth is that selfish people are actually the kind of people that you want helping you out. Because if they're selfish, which means taking care of self, if they are taking care of themselves, right, then they are in a better position to take care of you. And someone who is constantly giving of themselves doesn't have the capacity to help you in a good way and doesn't certainly set a good example, right? And so that's about the language and the perspective on language. But if I don't infuse some selfishness in my life, then I am one of those selfless, give you away everything people. And so I have to do that.
Absolutely. We could probably talk about this all day.
All day.
All day. 24 hours a day podcast. I don't know if that would be good. We need some sleep, I think.
I think so. It would just be us snoring for an hour. Anyway, let's welcome our guest today, because he is another fantastic person that I'm excited to have on, that I don't think anybody talks about or sees enough. So I'm excited to have him on. Please welcome Johnny Knapp.
Why, hi, guys. I'm grateful to be here. How's that for a start?
I love it. Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it.
It sounds like it's going to be fun.
Well, what's your, Johnny, your take on gratitude and all that stuff?
I'm not sure what to say. I've led a long life, getting longer by the moment. And I've been many things, including a therapist. And I have to tell you the truth, I probably was severely mentally ill most of my life. And that's gratefully seems to be coming to some kind of closure towards the end. So a lot of what you talk about with gratitude or some of these other, what would you call them? I don't want to use a derogatory term at all.
A concept.
Basically shaping your,
Yeah.
no, you know me, I have to find the right synonym, otherwise I'm afraid I'm gonna get hit. Something on the orders of, shaping your thoughts, shaping your reality through your thoughts. I'm trying to find that good neutral term. That would have been outside my ability at some point in my life, way the fuck outside my ability. So it's coming to me new, if you can understand what I mean. I mean, I went through it and frankly was completely disappointed in results, all forms of cognitive therapy. But looking back now, I didn't have the cognitive ability at the time,
right,
probably to implement them. So I'm looking at them brand new. I'm listening to you, Becca.
Thank
and
you.
There's a part of me that goes, oh God, I've heard this before. Right. And there's a part of me that goes, I better fucking listen this time. Do you know what I mean?
That's it, right? I've been there too. I've been where you're talking about too, where I've said, these people are full of shit, right? Where I've looked at my life and I've gone, okay, this doesn't, I can't place this in reality. And at some point I had to take the step to decide that I hated my life so much. And I was so tired of the way that it was. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to take the leap and buy into it 100%. And let's see what happens. So I feel
in my life, there have been many things to be grateful about. And I'm the kind of person that in the moment, I may be grateful. But on those days when I'm not grateful, man, it's been a shitty life. Right? It goes back and forth. It goes back and forth.
Yeah. Now, Johnny, one thing that you have in common with me and Becca is that you started your own podcast, I guess, in the last year. So why the heck would you start a podcast?
That's a damn good question. And now if I could come up with a damn good reason, we'd be all set to go. Okay, I'll do the best I can to be short. I was that weird little nerd down in his basement practicing everybody's voices. And at some point I tumbled onto TV talk show voices. Dick Cavett, Jack Parr, Johnny, excuse me, not Johnny Cash. Oh wow! To pull a blank on the biggest one, whatever his name was. Any regard, somewhere along the line, I was born with a kind of flat, high voice, as some of us are, and somewhere along the line, I kind of overcompensated through modeling, practicing and so forth. So by the time I was 18 years old, I really was having my own talk shows down in the basement. So it's been there forever. And at some point I realized people couldn't really hear what I meant to say in the way I was putting the words down, through conversations with people.
Right.
And I thought performance was probably the answer.
Well, that's awesome.
And on your podcast, you made an interesting choice where I don't hear too much on other people's podcasts, where they have music playing in the background as you're kind of talking about a different topic or a story. Why did you decide music in the background was something you wanted to use for your podcast?
Well, of course, I know This American Life and that kind of thing, and I grew up with that. But it has something to do with the way I understand and experience reality. I experience reality largely in terms of feelings and sensations. My sense of time isn't the passage of events, it's scenes. I remember scenes. I remember what things looked like. I remember what people said. I remember how I felt. Well, help me out, guys. I lost the thread. This will happen to me. What were we just talking about?
About music in the background.
Oh, the music. Okay. So so obviously when I wrote what I do write, I write from an experiential bent. I'm trying to get people to experience what I experience or to share it with them in some regard. So setting the scene was important to me because it's how I experience a life. I give them sounds. I give them whatever I can. I give them artwork. before they see it. I give them promotion before they even see the artwork. So that when they finally get to experience it, I'm hoping they experience something similar to what I meant them to.
Awesome.
And like, how do you feel up to this point about the podcast experience? Is this something you're glad you did, wish you regret it, or
No. It's a great high. It's wonderful. I really love it. Now, I hit my traditional burnout at Thanksgiving, and I haven't actually gotten an episode up since then. And I keep promising every several days, hey, then one's going to go up tonight. And, I'm burning out my audience pretty much here. But I know that that's what's going on. I'm basically all but recorded the next episode, and I have 3 or 4 more largely in the can. And I do enjoy it again, but boy, I cannot handle Thanksgiving to January 1. I just can't handle it.
Yeah, I can't handle it either. I'm somebody who struggles with seasonal depression on top of all of it.
Yep.
And so what I've started to do is kind of acknowledge that that's what happens for me at that time of the year, and I've started to unschedule myself around that time. Like the things that I do and I create, I try to, I'm taking my hiatus, and I take a few months off, and I come back in February for the same reason.
I think next year, that's what I'm planning on doing. So much of this is new to me. I was only diagnosed, what is it? It's either 5 or 6 years ago, I forget. So I feel like I'm inventing the wheel, even reading everybody, even,
right.
watching all the videos and so forth. It's just like, what do I do next?
It is, it's a rediscovery. That's what the whole process is like.
And other than podcasting, what are kind of some of your special interests, Johnny, or things you're really passionate about?
Well, it appears that I have a ADHD kind of component to whatever I am. Looking at the tests, talking with my psychotherapist and stuff like that. And like many people, whether it's autism or ADHD, many people like us, I go through seasons. I'll be a painter for 3 months, and that's all I do. I'll be a poet for 3 months, and that's all I can think about. I'll be a podcaster for slightly longer than 3 months, and the last month was torture. Right. If you catch what I'm talking about. So I do painting, I do cooking, I do bread making separate from cooking. I play music a great deal with my wife and also by myself. I compose music, I do all that sort of stuff. God knows I read way too much news. I can't seem to give up that special interest. I'm sure I'm living out the grandchildren and some of the other important things.
Oh no, those things are important, but they're not special interests. That's different.
Well, they are in a way for me because I've never had children. These are my adopted, or whatever you want to call it, my step grandchildren. Yeah.
Right.
So it's new to me in many ways.
Well, that's fantastic.
And what are you, one of those grandparents that like spoil the grandchildren, or are you a grouchy grandfather? Like, how does that work for you?
Is that like an either or what?
I don't know. I'm just throwing options out there. There could be other options, I'm sure.
Well, the good side is that what can I say? When I love something, I just love it. It doesn't matter their age, the size, the species, whatever. It's just what happens. The downside to me is I can be surprised. And let's be honest, children can surprise one.
Yes.
So there are moments in which I might be grumpy.
That's really.
But generally, I'm the kind of person that tends to inspire people to creativity and that kind of thing, and the kids like that, and I like it. So.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. I like other people's children from afar and in picture.
From very afar.
Yes. Social distancing on children. I gotcha. So I have a bread maker, Johnny, but I've never been able to figure out how to use it. That's pretty much me and any machine. I really struggle like figuring these things out. So what do you do for bread making? Oh, I do it by hand. I do it by hand, of course, from scratch and that. I'm not great. Like a lot of the things I do, I'm like an experienced dabbler, to be honest. I mean, sure, I paint, but it's not ever going to be in the Louvre.
It doesn't, it makes
And
you
I make
kind of a
bread.
Renaissance man. That's what it is. You're good at a lot of things. Master of none. So what?
Well, there you go. There you go. But yeah, no, I do sourdough from scratch. There's a lot of different ones I love. And like John Lennon, I feel like it's the only real accomplishment of my life. I learned how to make bread.
Yeah.
Because it is so cool. It's living, it's in your hand. If you treat it nice, it responds. If you treat it badly, it gets pissed off. I understand it.
Right. That's awesome. I'm not coordinated in a small, like with small motor stuff. That is not something that I am good at.
You got the black nails for guitar, though.
I do. I wish I had the coordination for guitar.
I didn't. Well, listen, I don't want to talk you into something that you don't want to, but it's bizarre. I was not coordinated as a child. I showed zero talent at art, music, any of those things. I sort of feel like at some point, maybe my nervous system came together very late or something. I don't really quite know what to know, but it's like I built new synapses, and then all of a sudden I was good at those things.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. You pick it up, you spend a few hours, you'd be surprised. Anyway.
When did you get into poetry?
That's one of the earliest. That's one of the earliest. I was fascinated with words from at least, I've got memories back to 3, and it's based on synonyms. And basically, like any autist, I found out pretty soon, if you use the wrong word, you're in deep shit. If you use the right word, you're a hero. And as far as I could see, it was all completely arbitrary. That's the nature of language to me. It's completely arbitrary sounds. So I got into synonyms at a very early age because I didn't like to be in trouble, and I was looking for approval from everybody.
Right.
And that was the beginning of it. That was the beginning of it. By the end of 2nd grade, I was writing science fiction stories, winning the occasional award in school for poetry and that kind of stuff. And then suddenly I discovered junior high.
Yeah. The great distraction.
Yeah, and I wish it was sex that had distracted me. It was just more survival.
Yes, social survival, of course.
But anyway, later in life, then I picked it up again through a back door. I was in a cult for a while and took part actively in the volunteer structure and wrote and that kind of stuff. Coming out of that, I went into found my way into advertising, because I'd learned how to lie so very well for the cult.
Bad but true.
And then having written for decades in that kind of format, later on, I kind of rediscovered the itch to write some other things. And fortunately, those were skills that I could transfer.
Yeah. So you said you kind of go through seasons with your interest. Why is news not what went through many seasons for you?
Oh, it does. Are you kidding? News. I mean, I break more phones over news. I mean, especially these days. Keeping on top of things, it does go through its own seasons. I can go through months or 2 where I disconnect. I probably won't even know what day of the week. I couldn't pass a mini mental rather. But in general, there's always something that's got my interest within that idea of searching for news, whether it's science or archaeology, or God knows I never got over dinosaurs, and of course, politics. I'm I won't say lifelong, but since teenage, socialist, and very interested in all forms of politics.
Thing about dinosaurs is I can barely remember people's names. So the names of dinosaurs, I don't know how people do it. I'm always so impressed.
Dude, you live in the moment. You just have the dinosaur card in front of you. It's cool. That's all there is to it. Who remembers the characters on Star Trek? Fuck, I still love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Captain Sisko, I remember him. Oh, 7 of 9, sorry.
So recently, Johnny, on social media, I saw a great picture of you with a furry friend. So are cats, like, do you have many cats, or?
I have had many cats. I now have 2. And my wife, we live nearby. My wife has 2. So I have 4 in my life right now. At one time I was living with 15. That wasn't completely voluntary, but it wasn't completely involuntary either. But I love cats. I came late in life to love dogs. I had a dog who passed away almost exactly a year ago. Yeah, he won't be replaced.
Yeah. Well, I am a cat person, so I join you in my love of cats. I'm working my way to 15. I'm not there yet. I'm only at 8, but I'm getting there.
Oh, you got to try, man. You got to have that attitude of catitude.
Yeah.
How do you manage that many though? Like just the executive functioning of it all.
Well, we could talk the level of delusion I was living in at that time, but I'm not sure it would really, come across in a transcript. It got very bad. When you have a lot of cats together, that many cats together, they can be very uncomfortable. They can be very stressed out. And they show their territorial stress in many ways. One morning I woke up to find one peeing in my toaster. Yeah. Put me off my feed for a while.
I bet.
But otherwise, it's pretty easy. They seem to have their own kind of politics. Several of them will clump together and this and that, and the ones that really don't like each other, well, they stay away from each other, and
right.
It works out, They all have their
really
little room and you love them while you're with them, right?
Well, I guess maybe I'll stay at 6 to 8 is my plan.
Well, you'll certainly know when you've gone too far. Just watch your toaster.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, Johnny, we always end the episode of Info Dump by asking questions through a segment we call Inside the Autistic Studio. I don't know if you ever seen Inside the Actor's Studio. So this is our.
Used to love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our version of it. So there's 11 questions. The first question is, what are your pronouns?
Himish and he-ish.
Okay.
And what is your preferred stim?
Pacing. It really is. I've tried other things and I do them, but nothing works for me like it. More like striding, I guess I'd call it. Walking at a brisk pace and that kind of stuff. I walked the island of Manhattan. I can't tell you how many times. It's great.
And what is your favorite curse word?
Fuck. You can use it for anything. It's an adjective, it's a noun, it's a verb, really. Fuckily. I love it.
Who do you love and what are you doing about it?
I love my wife, Kimmy, and I'm admiring her, respecting, adoring her, and cuddling her with her most nights.
Nice.
The next two are fill in the blank. You may be neurotypical if.
Oh my. Could we skip these? I don't like these divisions. I don't like saying neurotypicals are this and neurodivergence. I'm not keen on it. Is that okay, guys?
Totally fine.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's
I appreciate
fine.
that.
What's something?
And I've indulged in it. I want to be clear. I've indulged in it, but I'm trying to overcome it in myself.
What's something you want to learn to do or be better at?
No. Audio engineering.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it touches on so many things I'm interested in. Actually, the fact is there's not much difference between sound and paint, but certainly a lot of things I'm interested in are involved with audio engineering, and I'm trying to develop that ear.
Nice.
What autistic social media account should people be paying attention to?
You all know the big ones. Okay, I'm going to mention a couple of people who are, I won't say small, but they're not out to become large either. These are two on Twitter. I've been enjoying Twitter lately. Just the active back and forth is more to my style. One is called, she is at Isn't Jen, ISNTJEN. She's an autistic mother, but that doesn't begin to tell you anything about her. She has a lot of insight, a lot of life experience, and she's really bright. The other one has a different name every day, but the @ sign is, oh yes, at Dr.H. Lexia. So it's Dr. H. Lexia, a really, really bright European, multilingual, very broad perspective of many things, including autism and politics. Don't know how to summarize it, but boy, just about my favorite account.
Awesome. Thank you for some good newbies.
Yeah.
I love all the old ones too.
Mm,
What's one thing in your routine you couldn't possibly live without?
Well, at this point, various forms of meditation are very important to me. We know about sleep and food and this, that, and the other thing, but I don't do well in life without some periods of actual silence. And I don't mean just headphone silence. I mean, my mind still.
mhm.
So a couple hours a day of that keep me straight, usually.
Nice.
Dog, cat, or must I choose?
I think closest to a cat.
Listen, you don't have to feel bad. I have 4 dogs. I love them very much. I will always be a cat person. It's just the way it is.
Well,
We'll
I was
take-
self-identifying, my friend. I was self-identifying. Don't back me into a corner or I'll scratch your eyeballs out. You know, I love when I purr and then, oh my God, then what happened?
Hey, exactly. I get them.
Okay.
And the last question, Johnny, what does autistic joy mean to you?
It's what I was born with. It's what I knew until it was beating the shit out of me. It was being in the flow. It was wordless. It was observing everything. It was everybody was my friend.
Mm,
That's autistic joy.
It was beautiful.
Can I wanted to just follow up on that, Johnny, a little bit. I wanted to
Sure,
talk to you a
sure.
little bit about that because it was
Okay.
beautiful, like Becca said. Can you talk about a little bit about being in the flow? What does that kind of mean to you?
It's all the things at once. Okay, it's special interest, it's hyperfocus, it's loss of awareness of time, it's everything that you've ever heard about an autist. And that's why it's autistic joy. And that's why I say we were born this way. We know what to do.
Mhm.
We really do. It's a scientist looking down his microscope. It's me looking at the sky in the desert.
Mhm.
It's awe, it's wonder, and it's simple.
It is. It's so interesting. I'm very interested right now in how much the neurotypical world how much weight they put on putting words to things, words to feelings, words to experiences, and words on words and words. And for me, when I think about being autistic, what it really means to be autistic, it is wordless. It is a wordless experience, our true nature. And we only struggle with that when we're forced to communicate it to other people. And I think that's a really interesting thing, that we're told we're the ones with a communication disorder or communication disruption, right?
Oh yeah, we could talk about that. How about we say what we mean and so forth. I mean, a lot of that territory everybody goes over. What I want to say is that, you know, it took me 7 decades to realize I prefer my own company. It's just that simple. I prefer my own company. Do I love to see people? Yes, as a contrast.
Right.
I prefer, no, and I don't mean meanness, and I don't think
Right.
I'm what's that word, misanthropic. You know, I don't think I hate people,
Right.
but I don't correct myself,
Right.
and I don't apologize to myself, and I don't worry what I say to myself.
Mhm.
And one thing, Becca, can I expand on something you just said just a second ago?
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll mean something to you. It took me a while and a lot of staring at the back of my eyelids to realize that when I was a child, I began wordless. And by that I mean, if I knew something, if I knew something, I had a feeling of knowingness.
Right. And then you have to.
And then I would struggle to come up with the words to express it. Or I would have a feeling, I knew what I felt,
Mhm.
but then I would struggle to how to communicate to it.
Yes.
So this whole communication thing wasn't natural to me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Or at least not communication in the with words in the
With
in the-
words, with
right?
words.
And
Yeah.
so I'm very into this. And aside from this podcast, I will probably email you about this because I'm working on some stuff, because I am really interested in the place of alexithymia in all of this. Because
Yes. Tell
alexithymia,
me about it. Tell me about it.
right?
It's very confusing.
It's confusing because I think our natural state is to just have and we know what we're feeling.
Yes.
It's that it gets mislabeled, or we struggle to
Yes.
explain
And
it.
then we confuse
then-
the symbols that they give us. The
Right.
symbols are the words. We confuse the symbols with our internal feelings and truth.
Correct.
And
then
that's,
go
I
through
mean, I
our
have
lives.
such a clear memory of this happening.
Me too. I just described
First
my
grade,
memory of this to
It
somebody
was
else.
over.
And
It was over.
I think it's really interesting, a place to look at it. And that's why I love that you said wordless, because when I was organically myself and I was just little autistic Becca existing in a world who didn't know any different, it was wordless. What my personal internal experience was wordless for a very long time. And it was like, oh, now at somewhere about 6 or 7 or 8, grown-ups start asking you to like talk about it. And then it gets
That's right.
right. And that's when
where the problem with synonyms coming in, right?
That's what I do. I worry about, I think about alexithymia through a different lens now. I'm thinking of it as a trauma response these days, rather than
A communications disorder caused by trauma. I feel strongly about this. I really do. And when I only know a couple of nouns, am I wasting you guys' time?
No.
No,
Okay.
this is great. Keep going.
I know only a few non-speakers. I'm very close to, well, social media close,
Right.
to a gentleman. I won't mention his name. I didn't ask beforehand, but we're crossing races, cultures, all kinds of kind of stuff. But we know each other through autism, so it's really quite extraordinary. And speaking with him, I get this sense that was my natural state.
Mm-hmm.
This what do they call it? Not hyperlexia, but logorrhea or whatever it is I've got. This
Right.
so many words. It's
Too
not
many
my
words.
natural state. Pardon me?
There's too many words and not enough words.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Yes. I just think this is so fascinating. And so if you are an autistic person listening right now or watching on YouTube, and you can reach out to any one of the three of us, because I assume Johnny will forward you on to me. But I am really interested in your perspective on this, on your really early memories of life. And is it wordless for you? Is wordless a good way to describe it? Because I'm fascinated in this area right now about when the, what's the word that I want to look?
There we go.
I know. It's like when it's not that people are ableist, right? It's that that's just how the world is, and nobody's kind of countered it and said there's another way to exist and there's another way to be. So at what point was that bias what turned us into what we are versus our natural state, right?
Right.
The bias towards the neurotypical needs. And so I'm endlessly curious. And I think it really begins very early, because I do think that a lot of the natural state autistic experiences are the opposite of words, if that makes sense. So I don't know. We'll have to
Words
check
are
it out.
just
Sorry that we went off on a
representations.
little
Words are
tangent.
just tools. That's all they are, Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's what I'm built for. Oops, am I still there? It's saying I'm unstable again. Is it just being mean or what? Okay, there it is.
Excuse me. Yeah, so
Well, how
I guess
are we doing? Are we wrapping up now?
yeah, we're gonna wrap up
Sounds
now.
good.
I really appreciate your time and everything. I had such a good time, and I will follow up with you on this topic because I am really interested in it. But
Cool.
thank you for sharing some of your experience with us. It's been really interesting. I appreciate it.
I really enjoyed it. And when I can ask you a private question, I'd like to know.
All right.
Can I?
Just wait till we're done recording, I guess. I
Okay.
guess it would be better.
Thanks, Johnny.